Look, I have a little baby fig. I'm excited about it. I don't I don't think I like figs, but I like that it's growing. And I'm glowing. Hi friends, welcome to episode 116 of the Quirky Monday Craftcast. My name is Kalisha and you can find me anywhere online as the Dear Tani. I'm coming to you today from my home in Central Florida. I was gonna say I wouldn't be coming to you from anywhere else because lockdown. But anyway, if you're a new viewer, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. I am glad that you decided to come and hang out with me for a little bit. I think that's everything. It was a giant bug. I don't even know what kind of bug it was, but please, returning viewers will know that Florida wildlife likes to come for me. Tootie! Toot! Quiet. Hey! Stop all that barking. So, as you can see, I'm joined by Lamar. I don't know how long he's going to be outside. Tootie's over there yelling, and Kiva's over there sniffing things. It's a family affair today, guys. So let's get started with some stuff, shall we? First order of business. The Pisces season make-along has come to an end. It was great. I love seeing all of your projects. Thank you so much for participating. I will insert a clip of the winners. I'm pulling one winner from the finished objects thread on Ravelry and one winner from the hashtags on Instagram. The hashtag was Pisces season MAL. And to be honest, I'm not looking forward to pulling from that hashtag because unless there is an easier way to do this that I haven't discovered yet. Who was out riding their motorcycle? Or whatever vehicle that was. Unless there's an easier way to do this that I haven't discovered yet, I manually count every entry and then do a random number random number picker from those. And I had to manually count because we use the same hashtag as we used last year. So, yeah. And then we'll be doing a random number generator pull from the FO thread in Ravelry. I'm also, because I forgot to do this last episode, going to put a kind of like a slideshow of the finished objects and things at the end of this podcast so you can see the different projects that people did for the Pisces season make-along. Yeah. Oh yeah, and hopefully here there will be a picture of the prize pack because it's still in the works. Yeah. Hi friends. I am on here mid editing to let you guys know who the winners of the Pisces season make-along are. I counted up the entries for Instagram. Everyone who used the hashtag Pisces season MAL hashtag on their posts over there was counted. And after I took out all of my posts, there were 87 total entries. So I did a random drawing from 1 to 87, and it came up with number 31, who is Instagrammer Adventures in Fiber. And the particular picture of theirs that it showed was they're making a crocheted sweater, and it was the yoke of the sweater. And I think the sweater was made in like linen stitch or something like that, but it looks really nice. So Adventures in Fiber, congratulations. you are our first winner. Please send me either a message. Well, since you're an Instagram winner, it's probably easiest for you to send me a message on Instagram. But send me a message on Instagram with your full name and your mailing information so I can send your prize out to you. Our next winner is from the Finished Objects thread on Ravelry, and there were 40 entries, so not counting my first entry, which was the first post. I did a drawing using random.com or org, whichever one it is, the random number generator, from 2 to 40, and it chose number 25. And that is user JessicaBrist. And I was really excited when she turned out to be the winner, because if you have been following, like if you follow her on Instagram, you would have seen her journey of making her very first sweater. And I think, what is that pattern called? Breathing Space by Vera Valimaki, maybe? But that's the sweater that she made. And at the end, the original end of the make along, she was like maybe halfway through. And then I did the extension, and she basically took it as a challenge to finish the sweater. And she finished it, and it looks amazing, and I'm so proud of her. And she had like a whole team of cheerleaders cheering her on to finish this sweater. So congratulations, Jessica. Send me a message either on Ravelry or Instagram, whichever you want, with your full name and your mailing info so I can send out your prize. What's the prize, you say? Now, I did put in a picture, so you would have seen that, but here they are. We've got 2 Quirky Monday bags. This is the medium size, and everything inside is the same. So the only difference really is the color of the handle. We've got a blue one and a purple one. Anyway, so the outside is spacey because it's me. And I went with this particular tone of space fabric for the Pisces season colors. And then on the inside, we've got beachy fabric. And then each winner will also receive a skein of yarn from Fat Bunny Yarns, and this is the Lucky Sock Base, which is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 460 yards to 100 grams. So each one of you gals will get one of these. You also will receive a progress keeper from Black Purl Magic, and it's sparkly. They're like glitter, purple glitter stars. And I have these, which I thought was kind of cool, and somehow I ended up with multiple of these, but they're little crochet hooks on a keychain so that you can fix drop stitches in your knitting, or if you're just really dexterous, you can crochet with these. Teeny tiny crochet hooks. And then lastly in here are handmade cards, and each one of you has a set, and they were made by Heather, who goes by Bunniphish here on YouTube and on Instagram. Yeah, YouTube and Instagram. She's Bunniphish. So you each get a set of handmade cards. So yeah, I will look out for your messages with your mailing info and get these out as soon as possible. And thanks so much to everyone else who participated in the make-along. I really enjoy hosting this. This has been the first make-along that I've done twice. So, yeah, as long as I am in this crafty space, I plan to host the Pisces season make-along every year. So again, thanks so much for participating. Congrats to the winners. Back to your regularly scheduled programming. So, next order of business are bright spots. And if you are new and don't know, bright spots are basically the section of the show where you guys get to participate. I ask that you guys share any positive things or good things that happen that you want to share with the class. And you can leave them in comments down below, and I'll pick a couple of them and share them here on the podcast. So, from last episode, we have 3 that I'm sharing. Yeah, 3. So the first one is from Steph. It says, my bright spot. My son's, excuse me. My son's high school switched to online classes a couple weeks ago, and the admin and teachers are posting funny TikTok videos and having Spirit Week next week with dress up days for the kids. They're trying so hard to make the kids laugh and have fun during this stressful time, and really helping them feel less isolated. Hey Lamar, you want to do TikTok videos for your kids?
I am doing Motivation Monday though. Next week.
Oh. Can you record it so I can put it on the podcast? Short answer is no, he will not record himself speaking for Motivational Monday because they're going to talk about another motivational speaker's message. Bright spot number 2 comes from Kathleen. It says, bright spot, under stay-at-home orders and working from home, sat down to a Zoom happy hour with 20 friends on Friday afternoon. They all sipped adult beverages, and I sat there with my water, I don't drink alcohol, and my knitting. I was the only one doing any making, and they all were super interested in what I was doing, so I got to do a little show and tell. It felt so great when several of them asked me to teach them how to knit via Zoom. That's pretty cool. Okay, our third bright spot comes from Ms. Craft a Lot. And it says, a bright spot for me this week was playing bingo and Pictionary over Zoom with my extended family. It really brought us a lot of joy. And those are basically like a lot of the bright spots that were shared were about connecting with friends and family over like using technology. So that was really cool. I'm glad that we have the access to technology in the way that we do, so that being at home by ourselves isn't so lonely. All right, so that's everything with admin. Kiva is sitting on my foot right now. All of this backyard and she's sitting on my foot. Okay, I guess. So we will go on into finished objects. So the first finished object I have was pretty much finished last week, and it is my heart weaving. So it's off of the loom, it's on a stick, it's been hanging up on my bookshelf. It looks really nice from the front. The back is a whole nother story. So one night, I can't remember if it was last week or early this week. Today's Thursday, by the way. I can't remember if it was last week or early this week, but I could not sleep like at all. I was up until probably 3 something, just awake. And this was one of the projects that I worked on. So what I did was a really, really janky way of taking it off of the loom. And I wove in all of, that's a lie, that's a bold-faced lie. I wove in some of these threads, the brown ones, and the rest of them are on the back. There's probably a good 6 sticks of hot glue on the back of this thing. So, ta-da! This is how not to finish a tapestry. I still need to cut this off, but like, look at this mess. All of that is hot glue. Anyway, so what I did was I I tied off and wove in as many of these as I kind of felt like it, and then I got tired of doing that. So what I did was I just hot glued them down. Like, it's fine. Nobody's ever gonna like be looking at the back of this and inspecting it. And then these are the warp threads here, and I just folded them up and glued a ribbon on top of them. Again, nobody's gonna be looking at the back. And then this part was, I think this was kind of necessary because all of this is the back side of the loop, the pile stitch, I think it is. So there's a lot of loose fiber back here, and if it gets caught on anything, it'll pull out, and that's just no fun. So I cut a piece of felt to cover all of the back of the heart, and then I just used a crap ton of hot glue to secure this down. I burnt myself a number of times, a very high number of times I burnt myself, but I like how it looks, and it looks really nice hanging up on my bookshelf. The stick that it's on is actually just a wooden dowel that I had in my stash, and I didn't want to paint the dowel, but I also didn't want it to just be regular wood, so I covered it with washi tape. And this washi tape is one that has kind of a wood grain texture on it. So, yeah. And then all of the, because I didn't want it to slide around, I put a little dollop of glue on every single one of these little warp thread loops. And wham bam, thank you ma'am. It's done. Yeah. So as soon as I took that off of the loom, I knew that I wanted to start something else. But I didn't want it to be a huge thing that I start. So I decided to make this. And this is actually that, the yarn that I showed you guys last week that I got from the thrift store. Someone said that it looks like a single ply, what did they say this was? Like sari silk or waist silk. Remnants or something like that. It kind of gives me that vibe, but I just wove a little square, and I have been using this on the table because my office is our dining room, and so I sit at the table there. I've got my computer and everything, so my typical work day looks like me sitting at the dining room table with my my work computer, and then I have my iPad off to the side where I have like YouTube or music or something like that going on, and I'm working on my computer like that. And I like to have like a cup of tea or a glass of water or something like that, and a lot of times if I have a cold beverage, the condensation will get everywhere and blah blah blah. So I was like, I need a coaster, and I was going to just crochet up a coaster, but I was like, weaving it would be fun and different. So it's a little mug rug, and I really like how the colors look. It's really fun. I kind of want to make another one, but then I kind of don't. So that's my other finished object. Again, I need to watch some more videos about finishing a weaving, like how you take it off of the loom and what you're supposed to do, because I'm pretty sure just cutting it off the loom and tying them together is not exactly what you're supposed to do. But it works, so it's fine. It does what it's supposed to do. And my last finished object is a representation of, how many do I have in total? I think 21 or 22 masks, face masks. So last week I was talking about how I made some face masks for a couple of my friends that work in the hospital system down here, and I was going to make them a couple more to share with, you know, their colleagues in their different locations. And then my mom, I guess, mentioned this to my aunt, and my aunt was like, oh, can you make some for your cousins? So then I had to make some for them. And then, you know, one of my other friends who's also in healthcare was like, oh, Kalisha, can you make some for me? Can you make some for... So I ended up like like it's been expanding, and I think I have about 20 to 22 finished masks at this point, and I need to make 7 more, I think, because I haven't made any for my family, and my family that lives up in Delaware or anything like that. So, you know, you got to take care of your family. So this is the mask style that I've been making. Last week I showed you the one that's shaped like this, like that comes around your nose like this and curves. After I made that first one, I was like, there is no way I'm making multiple of these because it just took too long. And I really just don't have the time or the bandwidth to really sit down and do this very intricate top stitching, especially when I'm looking at making like 20 of these. So I'm making the pleated ones. So it's basically a rectangle of fabric that you fold into pleats, and then you finish the edges with like some like bias tape. And the original pattern calls for elastic, like elastic bands, but I couldn't find any elastic in the stores. I've heard that you can order them order it online, but I'm not trying to wait that long because, of course, elastic is not really essential, so that's not getting sent out for real. So these are the ones that I'm making, and they basically open out like that, and then you can tie them around your head. I've been telling my friends that I gave these to use them as a mask cover, because a lot of the different hospitals, since they're running low on supplies of like face masks and stuff like that, some of the workers are having to reuse their masks or wear them for longer than would normally be recommended. So by covering them with something else, something that's washable and reusable, they can extend the life of that disposable mask. Now, the thing about these that kind of made me feel a little bit uncomfortable about them was that they're not like, this isn't going to stop you from getting a disease or anything. But the fact that it's meant to help extend the life of the appropriate mask that they have, that's what gave me comfort and made me feel okay to do this. Now, I'm not making these for sale. I will link the pattern that I'm using in the down bar, so if you want to make some for yourself, you definitely can. But yeah. So I finished sewing all of these today. Like when I clocked out from work, I just put on some YouTube videos and just batch sewed like all of them. One of the things that I do appreciate about the way that I made these was because I make bags for Etsy, I sew in batches. Like I do all of one step for all of the bags that I'm going to make, all of the second step together. So I'm just doing the same thing over and over again, and I feel like that helps me do them faster. So like last night, I was sewing, what was I doing? I was attaching the straps last night. So you attach the straps by laying them flat against the front of the piece, and then this binding here you lay right sides together like this. You sew across like this so that it's attached to the mask and the straps, and then you fold it back over like that, and then you sew another seam. So I've been either stitching in the ditch or sewing straight across the middle there. So last night I was doing the part where you're sewing the strap on, or sewing the straps and the binding on, and I did that on all of them. And then today I folded that back and did all of my top stitching. And that just helps me to like process through the steps, I think, quicker. And I feel like I can get more done as opposed to making an entire mask and then making the next entire mask. So there is that. And I think I feel like my throat is getting tight because I literally have not spoken this much all day. I had a video conference this morning that was about an hour long, and that's about it. The rest of the day was basically spent in silence. I spoke on the phone to my mom for maybe 15-20 minutes. That's it. So yeah, that is everything for my finished objects. So we can go into works in progress. And I have one finished, or one work in progress. And it's actually this pair of socks that I don't remember when I was working on them. So this is the finished sock. It's got a heel and everything. And this is the one where I can't really see it. I put eyelets in right after the ribbing, and I was gonna do eyelets all the way down the front, and I did one row and was like, nah, that's okay. I don't want them that bad. So I had put this project in some random bag and totally forgot about it. And then I was looking for something else the other day and came across it, and I was like, oh, I should finish those socks. So here's the second sock. I had just finished, I was probably in the green, either the light green or the dark green section when I picked it back up. But I've just been knitting on this. When Lamar and I went out for the grocery run, we took the dogs with us so they could get out the house as well. And he went in the stores, and I sat in the car with the dogs and knit. And yeah, so this has been my like easy knitting. This is, I want to say, I think the colorway is called Crew, maybe. And I can't remember the exact type of yarn it is. I think it's Lion Brand, and I think it's something, Mani Petty. That's what it's called. It's called Mani Petty, and I think it's the Crew colorway. I'll fact check that and put it on the screen. But this is my current work in progress. I still have the Celesterium. I did a couple rows. I think in the last week I've done like 2 rows on that shawl, because it has hit that space where it is definitely feeling as massive as it actually is. Yeah, and I think I've come to the conclusion that I am gonna frog my Just Feel Better shawl, the one that I was doing with all the textures. I think I am gonna frog that. Oh, look at Kiva. Oh, you can't see her at all. There she is. Aww. All right. Bring me back into brightness. All right, so that's everything for works in progress. I did make a note. I was on Time Hop the other day, and evidently yesterday, a year ago, is when I started my mermaid lock. So if you're new, I don't even know where it is. Oh, there it is. This is my mermaid lock, and I started it a year ago yesterday. So happy birthday, mermaid lock. Yay! This is how long my locks actually are. This is how long they appear. Because, you know, they shrink. But yeah, that's kind of cool. I think I'm going to add some more fiber to it in a different color up towards the top, because this is how long my locks were when I actually, no, I think they were here. This is how long my original locks were when I started the mermaid lock, and they've grown this much. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, check the notes. All right, so we have nothing on maker plans for real. I just have a bunch of frogging to do. So I'm frogging the Just Feel Better shawl, and gonna restart that in something else. And then I'm also frogging my yellow cardigan that I showed last week. I don't think I frogged it all the way yet. The sun is like in my eyeballs. I don't think I frogged it all the way yet. I think I just took the needles out and just haven't done anything with it again. So there's nothing really pressing on maker plans. Yeah, there's nothing really pressing on maker plans. So the next section we have is stash positions. And no, I have not been out buying yarn and stuff. I've done a little bit of online shopping, but none of that is here. So you guys will see it whenever it comes. Also, I think I forgot what I ordered, but I do remember ordering something. It's fine. So in stash positions, I have some garage shopping that I did. So we live with my brother-in-law, and so a lot of my stuff from like when I lived by myself and in my apartment, a lot of my stuff is in the garage. So when we all started working from home, and I was going to be in that, like my craft area a lot, I decided that I really wanted to get my bookshelves from in the garage and put them in the house so that I can organize my space a bit better. It still looks like a hot mess in there, but it's a work in progress. But one of the things that I found whilst doing that pulling stuff out of the garage, I found this. Now, all of these paints were not in here originally, but still. So originally this had my squeegees, all of these. This is like screen filler, photo emulsion, medium, different things like that for Silkscreening. I also found a brand new screen for Silkscreening, and then there was about 4 of these containers of Silkscreen ink. Since then, I did go ahead and put the Silkscreen ink that I purchased when I got into block printing recently in here. So now all of my Silkscreen inks are in here, and I'm really excited about it. So this is fun. I haven't silkscreened anything in years. Fun fact, when I was just graduated college, so like I think I was in my second apartment, so it was like maybe 2 or 3 years after I graduated college. Was I in my second apartment? I might have been in my first. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It was post-grad. One of my friends started a poetry show in Huntsville, Alabama, and it was called Rhyme Spot. And she would get poets from out of town. They would come and feature, and it was a really, really good show. And she had like the people who would help her put on the show. The group was called Rhyme Connect, and I silkscreened all of the shirts for Rhyme Connect, and it was a pretty cool thing. So we had it was kind of like, they almost looked like bubbles, so the color was red and there were a lot of circles. I wish I could find a picture of this shirt, but I don't think there's probably one in like the basement of Facebook, but if I can find a picture, I'll put it up there. I probably can't, but whatever. So I would silkscreen all of like the bubbles and stuff on the shirts, and then I would go back and put Rhyme Spot in iron-on letters. So I had like an assembly line going with these shirts, and it was really, really cool. So I would love to maybe try designing something for Quirky Monday, because that would be really fun. To just get back into that like hands-on art creation type thing. But I definitely have lots of things to play with. And the other thing that I have for stash positions is another plant. I've gone off the deep end, y'all, and I Can y'all hear that horn? Why are people this way? It literally sounded like the person was just driving 5 miles an hour down the road, just beeping their horn. Why? Why? On a Thursday afternoon. Why? Anyway, as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, I have gone off the deep end, jumped down the rabbit hole, just dove in head first. What other phrases do you want to use? Into plant mama life. It started out with, I hope that's louder to me than it is to you, but it started out with like one plant on my desk, which then grew into 3 plants on my desk at work. Then they had to come home because I didn't want them to die. And then they were so lonely that I bought some more plants. And then I went into the store and the plants were just looking at me with their sad little leaves like, take us home. So then I couldn't leave them there. And then sometimes the leaves just look really cool. So I think right now I have like 10 little house plants. And I am drawing the line right there because I don't think I can fit any more plants into this one little area that I have like put them. Yeah. But whenever Lamar and I get our own place, I am definitely getting big house plants. I really want a Monstera. And I know that that plant is so like trendy, but it just looks so cool. Anyway, let me show you my new plant baby. So this is a purple waffle plant, and the scientific name is Hemigraphis alternata. Hemigraphis alternata. And look at her. She is really funky. I love it. So one of the things that I did recently, I got these little plant stakes from the Dollar Tree, and I wrote the like common name, the scientific name, light preferences and watering preferences on each one. So I have all of my plants have a little stake like this in them. And yeah, so this one, I just thought this was so cool. Like, you are purple. I don't understand how a plant is purple. That's not a flower. My brain is boggled. I bought it for the leaves. And it's living in its pot that it came in this little basket because I need to put it, I want to put it in something else, but I need something to go in this basket because this basket's really cute. Got it from a thrift store for like $1, I think. But that's everything for stash positions. I don't have anything for Kalisha and the babe because I haven't started spinning anything. And yeah, so we'll go on to life and whatnot. So life and whatnot, what did I write down? I wrote down still working on working from home. I'm still watching art studio vlogs. I wanted to talk about the importance of staying self-aware and NaPoWriMo. So first, still working on working from home. So I'm still trying to figure out how I can be the most productive with myself. One of the things that I have been doing since I started working at this job that really helps me to stay productive and stay on top of things is I make lists. I make checklists of things that I want to complete, and then if there's something that I do that I didn't put on the list but I like finished the task, I'll put a little star on my list and write that task in. That way when the end of the day comes, I can look back at it and I can know that I was productive in that day, that I didn't just sit around staring at the ceiling, which sometimes is how I feel. Like even when I was in the office, sometimes I feel like, what in the world did I do? So keeping a log of my tasks and things has been really, really helpful. Another thing that I'm realizing is being aware of the times that I feel the most productive. And today I realized that I get a burst of energy and focus between the hours of like 12 and 3, which is kind of like the last half of my shift, because I work from 8 to 4:30. So from 12 to 3, I feel really, really focused and engaged. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe put my like most focused necessary projects, like the things that have me going like line by line down lists and things, I'll put those tasks to do during that time so that I can really focus in on them. And then the rest of the time do things that don't necessarily take that much focus, but that are still things that need to be done. Sending out emails, responding to emails, following up on things, like the kind of like little things, you know. Hey Pumpkin, you want to come up here? Come on. You don't want to jump? Of course not, I know. Come here, Pumpkin. 1, 2, ready, boop. Well, you gotta sit down. You can't just stand up here. So yeah, so learning how and when I am most productive and how I work best has been something that I'm really trying to focus on this week. Let's see. We'll talk about the importance of staying self-aware. I wanted to specifically talk about that because I realized, because of the way that I approach self-care and my own mental health, I do a lot of self-talk, a lot of analyzing my feelings and analyzing events and my responses to them. So whenever something changes and my behaviors change, I key into it really fast. Like the biggest change that I've experienced because of the whole stay-at-home orders, the biggest change for me is I realized that I'm not sleeping well. And I've always been a night owl, so it's nothing for me to stay up past midnight creating, because 1, I'm a night owl, and 2, I tend to be most creative at night. So I'll get like a bunch of good ideas and all this stuff, and I just want to stay up and work on them. But that energy is completely different. That energy and that vibe are completely different to the ones that I'm feeling now. And really what I'm feeling now is I just can't sleep. And it's kind of like just my eyes are just open. And that's how I was feeling the day that I finished my heart weaving. I was just awake and I couldn't sleep. And then I realized that my mood was feeling weird. And so I really start trying to think about what I'm feeling and how I can work with that. Are there any changes that I need to make? Just trying to maintain a level of balance throughout all of these changes, that has been difficult. But one of the other aspects of staying self-aware that I've really been looking at, and I feel like little emotional Kalisha is kind of standing over by this thing with her flags, like, okay, am I about to throw up this red flag? Like, how you gonna act today? You still green? We good? Or do I need to throw up this red flag? Like she's standing with her flags and she ready. But this thing is, when I was still going into work, And I spoke about it on here, how I wasn't sure if the cleaning, like meticulous cleaning of everything every few moments, and like really watching people, like what are you touching, so that then I can sanitize it, you know, just like that kind of, like that level of awareness of germs. Like I wasn't sure if that was helping me anxiety wise or hurting me. So I was kind of like paying attention to that then. But then I realized one day before the stay-at-home order, I was at Walmart. Lamar and I had gone to Walmart, and I was ringing up the items. And one of the items that we had gotten was like a box of paper or something that was too heavy to take across the self-scanner. And so I would have had to use the little handheld one. And I kind of got stuck because I was like, I don't want to touch it. You know, just kind of going back and forth. And just that idea of getting stuck in that action was kind of like a yellow flag, because, okay, don't jump off of there, sweet pea. There you go. It was kind of a yellow flag because when I was in college, and I had gone through my first big depression, one of the things that I experienced was getting stuck in between decisions, right? So one of the things that I would do was like I would be sitting at the lunch table and I would have my drink, and I would think like, okay, I'm gonna take a drink, and then at the same time, like I didn't want to take a drink, so I couldn't decide which one of those actions I wanted to do, so I would end up doing stuff like this, and I would get stuck there just reaching for it and not reaching for it, back and forth, until I had to just like shake it out and deliberately pick up the drink and drink it. And so when I was in Walmart and that happened, I was like, okay, so I need to pay attention to this so that it doesn't slide into anything else. And I think that a lot of the things that I'm feeling they're very fear-based, because it's like it's fearing the unknown. Like you don't know really anything about this virus, right? So going outside of my house has become a thing that makes me feel anxious or makes me feel nervous or something like that. Like for instance, I had to go to Walmart the other day, and whilst I was in there, I had to keep reminding myself, like, you're okay, everything is fine, because I felt my chest getting tight. I was like, you're not freaking out, everything is fine. Just get the things you're here for. You're not lollygagging in the store. Go in, get what you need, check out, go home. It's fine. But there was a lot of anxiety within me, and I realized that if I don't stay aware of that anxiety and the things specifically that are causing it, and I don't identify those, that it could be very easy for me to slip into a mindset of like fear of the public, you know, and I don't want to get into that space where I'm fearful to leave my house. And the kind of thinker that I am is I think about, and this is probably an overthinking thing, but I think about where I am and my behaviors, and I think, okay, if left unchecked, how can that, you know, grow, or what can that develop into, or something like that, just so that I'm like kind of thinking broadly about the different outcomes of choices that I'm making right now. So it has definitely been a really interesting experience, to say the least. But I am grateful for the friends that I have in real life, as well as the friends that I have digitally, and the ability to connect with both of them, or both groups rather, because I have more than 2 friends. Yay. But yeah, it's definitely been an interesting experience, an interesting adjustment to everything. So one of the things that I have been doing to try to combat the negative feelings that I'm kind of having is watching the art vlogs, the art studio vlogs that I mentioned earlier. I just love them. And it's really cool to see people who are just, they're painting or they're creating or whatever they're doing, they're creating this physical art, and I just really love it. And they're very inspiring to me. They all tend to have like this brightness to them, this bright, cheerful vibe that I really appreciate right now, especially. If I remember, I will link a couple of my new favorites. And I definitely, there's one particular, I think her name is Jennifer, and she's called Apple.Cheeks. And I definitely binged all of her studio vlogs, like in a row. And another one is, what is she called? Daphne and the Trees, I think. Binged all of her studio vlogs. And they all just have like this, like Apple.Cheeks is kind of more upbeat, cheerful, perky kind of brightness. And then Daphne and the Trees is kind of the flip side of that, where she's more chill, low-key, very autumnal in vibe. And I really enjoy having that juxtaposition of the two different artists and the content. So that's been pretty cool. So now basically YouTube thinks that all I care about is plants and art vlogs. It's like, oh, she doesn't knit anymore, she doesn't crochet, don't even recommend her any of those. Just so her plants and artist studio vlogs. Like, YouTube, I am a multifaceted individual, okay? But yeah, so the last thing that I want to share with you guys is my plan for National Poetry Writing Month, which April is National Poetry Writing Month, also known as NaPoWriMo. That's our neighbor barking. Our neighbor. That's our neighbor's dog barking. But National Poetry Writing Month, also known as NaPoWriMo, is a celebration of poetry. Typically, writers will choose like something to do every day, like write a poem a day or something like that. Last year, I did a haiku every day about something yarny, and it was called, what was it called? Weaving Tales? Something like that. There's a highlight on my Instagram page of all of my poems from last year's NaPoWriMo. So as usual, it snuck up on me. Totally forgot that April was Poetry Month. I'm a trash poet. It's okay. So last night I decided what I wanted to do. And this one is going to be kind of hard because anybody can write a haiku. Or technically, they were senryus because haikus are nature-based and senryus are not. But anyway, we won't get technical with it. They're pretty easy to write. They don't rhyme. All you have to do is syllable count. Good to go. This year, I've decided that I'm going to write a limerick a day for National Poetry Month. And limericks are a little bit more difficult because they have a rhyme scheme and a syllable count. And they have a rhyme scheme, a syllable count, and a rhythm. So yeah, I feel like I'm biting off a lot, but I think it's going to be a good challenge. And I've given myself a theme. So like last year, they were all like yarn based. This year, my theme is called Outside. And all of my poems are going to be based around things outside of my home. because quarantine. And I made a little title page for my my story highlight on Instagram, and it says outside limericks for the quarantined. And I'm so excited about this. So for my last thing on this week's episode, I'm going to share the first poem of Outside Limericks for the Quarantined. There once was a girl in Orlando, wishing she could go sit in the sand, oh, how she hoped for the day COVID-19 goes away, and she will distance by choice, not commando. This is going to be interesting. So yeah, NaPoWriMo. Are any of you participating in National Poetry Writing Month? Are any of you poets? You should write like a short little poem in the comments if you're a poet. I don't know that there's any poets out there who watch this, but in the event that there are, that would be so dope. So yeah, that's everything. I hope that you are having a good day. I hope that you are having more good days than not so good days, and even on your not so good days, I hope that you're able to keep pressing on through, putting one foot in front of the other and doing the next thing. See, did I tell you guys I recently watched Frozen 2? Do the next right thing. Like, there were so many tidbits in that movie, I tell you. Olaf, he was coming with the knowledge. He was. Anyway, yeah, I hope this video finds you well. Take a moment to leave a bright spot down below. In the comment section, you can leave a bright spot of something positive that happened to you, something good, something that made you laugh, something that made you smile, like a good positive thing that you want to tell somebody else, uplifting words of encouragement, any of those things. You can share them down below so that we can all have that wealth of positivity to dive into, like Scrooge McDuck. Also, this is my social distance shirt. Thanks so much for being a part of my universe, and I will see you next time. Bye.